Well, the weather for the whole of the south of England will continue as it has for the next few weeks. It's going to be hot and moist, with temperatures rising steadily as time goes on. There's a chance of steamy moments as we move into the... sod it. We never wanted to do this. We never wanted to be weathermen and women making innuendos about hot atmospheres and drizzly countries. We didn't want to be child-friendly. We didn't want to bang on about being for over 18s only. We want to talk about our sexy adventures. We want to be lifestylers, leaping from bush to bush as we sail down the rivers of British sex clubs and mountains of crazy experiences. The cheeky purple mamba, the liquid silk pumped liberally into our hand, the rodeo classic brief harness complete with Tantus curve, the Enjoy Pure One stainless steel dildo, the hot octopus digit, the ever so short messages on Fab Swingers, the sexy friends on Twitter, and the mighty vanilla alternative. With my best girlie by my side, we'd swing, swing, swing.
Get in the gym or to your car. With our advice, you could go far. We fuck things up and we make mistakes. And talk about our sexy dates. It's getting hard for this to rhyme. Just as well, 'cause it's bed hopping time.
Hello and welcome to the Bed Hoppers podcast. My name is Mr. H.
I'm Mrs. H.
It's episode 101. Hurrah!
Yay!
Yay! Well, firstly, thank you to everyone who got in touch about our 100th episode, sending us congratulations, thanks, laughing at our video. If you didn't see that, go to YouTube, have a look, search Bed Hoppers.
I'm amazed I can remember it.
Well, you know, I couldn't, and that's why editing the video was so much fun.
A gift that kept on giving.
It is the gift that kept on giving. Anyway, we are now on to episode 101. So we thought we would go right back to basics and do an episode about the basics of... No, we're not going to do that. The thought of 101 made, of course, Mrs. H think of Room 101 and the opportunity to say and talk about what really grinds her gears. Again.
Because there's always a list of things which grinds my gears.
Yeah, I'm not sure that they've changed so much since the last time, but it was like 50-odd episodes ago, so we reckon we can get away with another one of these. So
Well, there's always things to put in it.
Well, there are always things that you're pissed off about.
That's not true.
Like a grouchy old woman. You kids, why are you doing this outside my lawn? Get off my land. Shoot your dog.
Look, if this year's taught me anything, it's that people are still dicks.
Oh, great. So don't spoil any of my list.
Oh, is that literally your list? People are dicks?
Well, I don't hate that. It's a recognition that people are dicks, yeah.
So would you put people who are dicks in Room 101?
Well, let's get over to that in a minute. First, we need to say a massive thank you.
Thank you, you're welcome.
No, not to you, you idiot. You need to say a massive thank you because you got a present in the post just yesterday.
Oh my gosh, yes I did. Oh, that was so cute. Right, so I got a really, really, really cute mug with Mrs. H on it.
Yes, you did.
It was amazing.
I didn't get anything. I'm just saying.
You're not called Mrs. H, are you?
No, I know, right? I don't want a mug with Mr. H on it.
Oh, what are you moaning for then?
It's just I didn't get anything. I'm just left out, and I...
The best thing was, Noodle got something because she absolutely loved the box it came in.
Oh, okay.
She has climbed in the box and not got out since.
This is amazing. If only we could get to stay in there the whole time.
Well, no. Anyway, who's this amazing gift from?
I don't know, but we're going to mail the cat back to them.
That is not true. No, I am going to say a big thank you.
While you're delaying, while you look for the name.
I am not delaying anything. I just want to make sure I don't give away the real names.
Okay.
As is my want. It's Sporty Couple 33.
There we go. That's their Twitter handle,
That's their Twitter handle.
Yeah, so if you want to see them, go and have a look at them.
Yeah, and furthermore, I will put a little picture on Twitter later of my lovely gift.
Of your gift, which you've already used.
I have. I've used it this morning already.
Because who made you a coffee this morning?
A Sporty Couple.
Get out of my face. You wench. Absolute wench. Anyway, we've dragged ourselves out of bed on this delightful Saturday morning. I say Saturday morning, getting Mrs. H out of the bed before 12 o'clock on a Saturday is technically...
Babe, there's nothing else to do.
That's very difficult. It's very, very difficult. It's sunny out there. We could be out in the sun drinking.
Well...
We could be.
That would be a new low before 12
yeah,
on
I
Saturday.
know. Well, this is what I mean. Getting you out before then is very difficult. So it's about 10 to 12. Not that you needed to know that. So we are, I'm awake.
Good.
Mrs. H is waking up, I think.
I am fully here,
fully
present,
engorged,
in the moment,
fully plumped.
I'm all ready to have a think about things that need to be banned into Room 101.
Is that why you're speaking like William Shatner throughout the course of this thing?
Oh my God, no! I'm awake. I'm here. I'm ready.
You're present. You're with us.
I'm present.
Excellent.
Yeah. Get me all lubed up with some ideas about what we're going to talk about.
Well, I'm going to explain what Room 101 is.
I know what Room 101 is.
Okay, go on, then you do that.
It's a concept that George Orwell talked about in his novel 1984 with the Ministry of Love. And I think he was referring to very, very long, boring meetings that he used to sit through the BBC. And Room 101 was where people were there to face all their worst nightmares.
So, okay, but the concept of Room 101 as we're using it?
Oh, well, it's a place that you would banish things forever, so you would never have to encounter them again.
There we go. That's the missing link. So ultimately, this provides Mrs. H with a reason to sound off about shit that she doesn't like about the swinging lifestyle and complain about it once more and then hopefully ban it, thus not making a difference whatsoever in the world, but making her feel better. Wouldn't it be amazing
if this thing didn't exist as a thing in swinging? Yes.
Yeah, maybe that's the thing.
And I think a lot of people agree with me.
So we've pulled together a very short list of things that we hate. Well, I've pulled together a short list of things.
Because you're so Jedi and there's few things you hate.
Well, there's a few things that I hate, but we also took to Twitter and asked a bunch of people on Twitter what they would chuck into the bin when it comes to the swinging lifestyle. So we've also got some stuff from listeners as well. I think we'll cover our stuff first because, me.
Number one.
Because I'm number one, baby. Why try harder? And then we'll have a look at some of what Twitter said and we'll kind of go through some of that stuff. So I'm going to start because, me.
God, it's all about you today.
It is about me. Now, the first thing I'm going to sort of chuck into the site is and some of these are a little bit concepty because it's me and, it wouldn't be me without it being a bit concepty, is this thought around sort of bad swinging sites, but also people's thoughts about them around... everyone says this site is awful, right? So universally, people say that Fab, for example, is a terrible bloody site. Right? I don't think this is really the case. I think the problem is actually the people.
So you're going to encounter people on any site, regardless of the quality of a site, and it's the actual people that are making it a bad site rather than the actual makeup of the site.
Yeah. Now, the site might look not great. For example, Fab, we know it looks awful, but it actually has quite a lot of functionality. Yeah, there's stuff that's lacking, but overall as a useful thing, it's not terrible, right? What I find is terrible is the behaviour of the people on the site.
Yeah, I would agree.
So everyone seems to have, over the last few months, been having a look at different sites, particularly in the UK, right? Now, this is great. It's brilliant that people are looking at different things, but ultimately, those sites aren't used very much. There's not very many people in there in total, right? So the behaviour, because it's only a few people, is actually going to be okay. But as each site grows and has more people sort of joining it, then actually what I think will happen and what we'll see is that the behaviours that we've seen on Fab and other places will just simply spill into another site, assuming that they grow to be that big.
Although, would you not say that the site does have some level of control over how its members behave, potentially?
Yeah.
Or at least they could lay some ground rules around what would be good etiquette on that site.
Yeah, I think there's some ground rules around that. And I think, that there is a responsibility of the site or people that maintain it to kind of have a level of control and sort of be a little bit more open about certain things as well. So, I know that Fab has destroyed forum comments that they don't like and they block certain messages.
Yeah.
So I think there is a responsibility there. But what frustrates me is the fact that people just universally blame the site when actually most of the problems that we've encountered, and I guess, we can only talk from our experience, it's just around people being dicks.
Behaviour.
Yeah. And you get that whatever site you go to, I think. I think there is a universal truth that the more people you get into the thing, the bigger the view of people and the bigger the variety of people and the more chance of them being a dick there is on any given area.
I think part of this though stems from the fact that the community of people that we frequent and that we're attempting to try and build relationships with, not all of those people really necessarily want to behave the way that you want to or we want to. And that's the problem, isn't it? And I think you'll find the same with anything, whether it be a Tinder thing or just a regular dating site. You're right. You're always going to find people who just are simply not nice people.
Yeah, you can't pick your listeners. You can't pick your attendees. So I think there is something in that you can only go so far with this. You know, I think there is an expectation that people are always going to be like you to a certain extent because that's your bubble. But the reality obviously is very different.
So what I found, I think I've seen quite a lot of commentary around fab at the moment, mainly because fab is probably the biggest, I think, in the UK at the moment. I could be wrong, but anyway.
No, it's the biggest.
It is the biggest, isn't it? Which, you know, it's understandable. It's been there for a while. And, you know, we've seen some new ones creeping in on the fringe. And, you know, people at university getting fed up with fab, I think. And they're kind of saying, oh, how about this site and that site? Have you tried this? And I think what fab has not really managed very well at the moment is there's been a lot of like bad behaviour on that site. And I don't think they've addressed it properly, maybe, and that's
maybe
causing
not.
people to go away.
But equally, we've looked at some other sites. So, you know, I kind of looked at X site. That was just so, it felt rubbish. And there's only like 8 people on there. Great. I know that it'll grow with potential time. But equally, if the site doesn't feel like a nice user experience, there is that against it. There's that weird swingers barn thing that's popped up. Now, I can't bear to actually click on the site.
Is that the ones with all the orgy pictures?
Yeah, there's just constant graphic pictures being spammed out. I know it's a new site in Leeds. Like they're actually going to have a physical place to go, like a club. But at the moment, I just feel so put off. And then we got invited to a MeWe group that someone was trying to use to replace Fab.
Oh, my
But
goodness.
I found that group, you know, as much as I'm sure they are wonderful people, it isn't our people. And it feels even worse than Fab.
It does, because collectively all it does really is it portrays the worst elements of swinging, the bits that we really, really try hard to not kind of talk about in abundance because it's not us.
Yeah. So, you know, there's a whole range of approaches out there, and I totally get that. And it might be that we are just in the minority of that particular slice of ethical non-monogamy.
Do you think sites are better if they're paid? If people have to part with money to use the site, do you think people are likely to be better behaved or would expect a better quality of service?
I think that's part of the theory. I think the tricky piece is that if you have to pay to get into the site, then you've automatically got a bit of a barrier to lots of people joining. And ultimately, you do want lots of people, but you want lots of the right people. And that's really hard to measure. You know, maybe there needs to be some sort of survey before you join. But equally, you know, you might just be curious and you don't want to stump up a wad of cash to kind of get in there. So, you know, for me, it's about that mix of sites not maintaining things in the right way and bad behavior from people. And I think the bad behavior from people probably outweighs the issues I've seen with the sites themselves.
I think if I was very new to swinging and that was my first foray into, could this be the lifestyle for me? I'd be really put off.
Yeah, but equally, that's you. But then someone else might be like, this is the best day ever. I'm going to get so much cock, pussy, glunge, whatever.
And I suppose it's what you're looking for, isn't it? From that lifestyle. Are you looking for just random hookups? Yeah. Or are you looking to, grow and find relationships and cultivate them? Yeah,
that's the tricky balance.
So what's the bit that's going in room 101? The bad behaviour or the bad sites?
Maybe the blaming the sites, I think, is the problem. It was one of the problems.
Yeah. So assuming it's the sites that's perpetuating people's bad behaviour rather than it just people being bad.
Something like that. It was just a ranty thought more than anything else. So maybe nothing goes into room 101. And maybe it's just me just raging about it. But, we'll come on to that.
Yeah, but that's the whole point. You're allowed to talk about why it might belong in there and it may not actually belong in there.
All right, fair enough. What's yours? Go on, next.
So I think, again, and this is more of a concept, not an actual thing, like, I don't know, like someone who plays guitars on a train. That would go, anyway, irrelevant.
What? I've been that guy.
That does not surprise me.
This is genuinely true.
On a 2-hour train journey, have some guitar wanker.
This is like a 5-hour journey to Manchester when I was a student, right? This is in the mid-90s, I guess. Mid to late 90s.
Played Oasis and maybe some Radiohead and maybe some...
I played Oasis and Beatles songs.
Oh my God.
I was encouraged by the people in the thing.
Were you though?
I was. I didn't open my guitar until someone asked me to. I mean, you can guarantee the second they asked me to that I whipped that thing out quicker than, well, it still applies in many ways in later life.
It's all buffed and ready to go.
Yeah, it's all shiny and ready. Yeah. I had a carriage full of people singing Wonderwall, which is just as well because I only knew about 4 songs.
I was going to say, I've never heard you play a song all the way through.
You have? It's
No.
just rare.
You know the first 4 bars of every song perfectly. I mean, like, oh, I don't want to play this. I'm going to play something else now.
All right. Anyway, on to yours. Hashtag train wanker.
So mine, I think, is more around the subject of negative stereotypes
Okay.
that exist, but still continue to exist. And of course, stereotypes will exist everywhere. I'm completely aware of that. But I do think that the swinging, and that's a very broad term, and I know we don't like to define labels, but the swinging term does attract negative stereotypes. So what I'm kind of increasingly annoyed about and continue to be annoyed about is some of the assumptions and myths that exist, and people assume they think they know what it's about.
But counterpoint, right? Before we go any further. So, for example, I'm assuming that, and I'm going to make some assumptions here, I'm going to make an ass out of you and me, that you're talking about things like people, when they think about swinging, think about dogging, and they think about shitty Channel 4 documentaries. And,
Actually, I didn't make my list, but it's a good point. It was things like people who assume that if you're a swinger, then you just like wife swap or have random sexual hookups.
Okay. But for some people,
I know that is a thing.
And it may be, and we don't know, maybe we need data on this. Swingers help to the rescue. Come on, give us a hand here. Maybe that is the majority of what people do.
I agree that it must exist for a reason. So for the same reason that things like, upside down pineapples and pampas grass and black rings all must exist for a reason. They must have come from somewhere as a concept that it's associated with non-monogamy.
Yeah.
But specifically, the more derogatory terminology around swinging rather than ethical non-monogamy. Okay, so all our kind of societal assumptions are built around monogamy, and I think what upsets me more is the assumption that when you talk about your lifestyle choices being non-monogamous in some way, people think, oh, well, you're just having some mad sex orgy all the time. Then you must just be constantly like having sex with strangers. I'm like, really? It's so far from the truth.
It is for our experience, but I do wonder if the bigger ethical non-monogamy population are doing that, and that's where that drive comes from.
They're all on Fab.
yeah, maybe. And maybe
kicking off in the forums that they can't get their end away because of COVID.
So maybe the approach that we take is just a very, very small slice of that big part. I would hope that it isn't. And I would hope that sort of relationship plus swinging thing that we've kind of found ourselves in would be much more popular and much more, and is the prevailing dominant force in that ethical non-monogamy piece. Equally, I'm sure those that want to just rock up and fuck, they're probably thinking, wow, that's got to be the number one thing because that's what I want to do. So it's difficult to know whether that's clouded by our perceptions.
It is. I think where it comes from is even now, how many years down the line it is that we've been doing this, 4 years? Something like that. It still remains the number one question I would be asked by somebody who either finds out about it for the first time, that that's what I like or do, or someone who hears the term and goes, oh, that's where people just go and fuck everything and they're constantly just having sex and going to orgies and they just wife swap. It still remains the number one thing I hear associated with that. So,
and I think this goes back to the perception of ethical non-monogamy in the media and kind of what's perpetuated out there. So one, it's, is it that that's the case? So if it is that actually it's much more about relationship building and all that sort of stuff, great. But two, how do you get that into the media so it feels like so you normalize it, and it's just even down to programs like Wanderlust and that sort of stuff where, okay, it didn't end particularly well for them in that experience. What you need is a number of things that expose people to that approach, and for it to be a worthwhile endeavor, that it enhances people's lives. And until they start to see that, I think there's always going to be that sort of negative, oh, you just rock up and fuck perception. But, we're talking about serious cultural change, maybe.
Yeah. And again, which is, why I'm talking, I know that societal norms build everything around this is orthodox and this is what you should be doing versus this is what people do. That must mean it's wrong or seedy or not good in some way. I mean, we watched, was it Swingtown?
Yeah.
We spent some time watching kind of in lockdown again.
Lockdown Swingtown.
But the funny thing is, because, we do identify with this lifestyle, we actually do sometimes seek things to watch which kind of cover it. Because A, I'm curious to see how it's portrayed in media in different ways. And B, because actually, well, we can't do anything because we can't. So might as well watch it somewhere else. And I found it actually quite an interesting view. And it was very much linked to kind of how swinging was back in, a different kind of decade, wasn't it? So it was it based in the 70s?
Yeah, 70s.
Yeah. Actually, it looked quite fun. Maybe that's what we need. We just need to go back to 70s fondue parties.
Maybe. More fondue, definitely.
Definitely more fondue.
Yeah, you've had your first fondue now.
I have. Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah? Oh, good.
I think I more enjoyed it because obviously I was in nice company and enjoying it socially. I wouldn't just sit on my own in a room eating. Actually, I would sit in a room and eat fondue on my own.
So we
with my trailer kids.
We caught up with Hiscock Hotel in their garden and they made us fondue.
Yay. I think I really pressured him into making it.
Yeah, by pressured, I think demanded, but, such is life. So you're chucking in the bad perceptions, I guess.
It's the myths, I think. The myths and the bad misconceptions that still exist. And I get that they'll exist because you can't eradicate them because that's how people see it. But it just frustrates me.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I'm going to go next.
Go on then.
All right. Terms. Just terms.
Oh, labels and terms.
Labels drive me fucking nuts, right?
Yeah.
Because
they're wrong? Or
well, the problem is that there's no strict definition of a lot of things that sort of sit in the ethical non-monogamy world. And, some people hate the term swingers, some people hate the term lifestyle, and others will tell you that lifestyle isn't reserved for swingers and that it applies to wider kink and all sorts of other lifestyles that you can lead. And other people are trying to take words that already exist and twist their meaning. So, for example, I was on Twitter the other day talking about ethical non-monogamy, and someone, I think it was Steak and Tequila, was sort of suggesting that actually ethical non-monogamy means that you're ethical in every other aspect of your life. Now, I'm calling, no, I don't believe that, because it's defining how you treat your relationship, not how you treat every day. It's almost like the whole sort of, I hate this phrase, like woke swingers or whatever you might want to call it. It's that being ethical and being a good person, but also being ethically non-monogamous at the same time. And by that, I think they were talking about the people that have been playing during COVID, not being ethical and being people that they wouldn't want to meet. I'm inclined to agree on the large front on that. But calling it ethical non-monogamy seems to me like taking a label that already exists and applying a definition that isn't quite right. Now, the trick is that there's hundreds of these little definitions that are out there, and there's no real agreement. So when you're, like hot wifing, cuckolding, stag and vixen scenario, queening, all these things, polyamory, they mean different things to different people.
They do.
And I'd always say that actually when you define yourself as part of these things, and I know people sometimes don't like to do that, but it's important to help others understand where you are. So, it'd be great to be able to use a couple of words and then someone would go, oh, okay, I broadly get it. Now you might need to caveat that and say, but we only do it this way, or we only do that part. But actually, with the broad gate of things, it'd be great to sort of have those definitions mean something, because you can't use the definitions anymore because they don't mean very much.
You get yourself in all sorts of tied up in knots, don't you, trying to define something, and then someone say, well, but it doesn't mean this, it means this, and it means different things to different people.
And I've kind of always seen it as like ethical non-monogamy is the big branch that sits at the top of it, and by that I mean having open relationships that you know about. That's the ethical part for me. So,
and how you treat other people's relationships, presumably.
Well, yes,
to some extent.
Yeah, but by ethical, I mean it's about the relationship, not about the way that you shop green or you buy, you have an electric car or whatever it might be. That's kind of my definition of it. And then under that you have, I don't know, swinging. Let's not call it lifestyle, or it might be swinging lifestyle or whatever you want to say, but ultimately that means that you do a certain thing. And there might be hot wifing, and broadly you could be a cuckold or you could be a stag and vixen hot wife. But there's all these branches, but what I'd like to do is have a really clear guidance around what they really mean, and just have that set so and it becomes easier then when you're talking about your play style or where you fit in that world. Just for and I know no one likes being defined necessarily, but it's really important to have clear definitions so that when you're talking about it, everyone's on the same page. Like, you call a sausage, all right? It's not a bit of chicken. It's not it could be a chicken sausage, I suppose.
It could be chicken sausage.
But it's still a sausage. Do you see what I mean? And it frustrates the hell out of me when you say, okay, we are swingers, for example. And people are like, yeah, but what does that really...
Yeah, your wife swappers.
Yeah, or whatever. And actually, those terms need to be better defined, not only just for those in the community, but for those outside of the community, so they can understand it and they can get their ideas.
Which ties into the whole misconception thing. People just think they understand what a term means and then they apply it incorrectly.
Yeah.
So maybe what we're looking for is some law of Occam's razor to come along and give us the simplest explanation rather than overcomplicating everything with like all these different definitions that actually don't really necessarily fit someone.
Well, what's frustrating is that the dictionary definitions are often just ignored. And quite often these things are driven by like Urban Dictionary more than anything else. So, it would be great to kind of lock that down and just be done with it and just everyone agree and just go, you know what, this is what it is. And if you don't like the term, fuck off. It doesn't matter. No, but you are what you are. Do you see what I mean? Yeah. So if you're a swinger and you say, oh, I'm not a swinger, I am a XYZ, like, well, but you are, everything that you're doing points to you being a swinger, then you're a fucking swinger, whether you like the term or not. So I would rather we just all kind of went, okay, that's what it is. And then used our words to kind of describe our individual elements of that we follow. Anyway, it irritates me because I'm constantly tripping over myself trying to explain things to people and trying to help new people understand what is meant by something when actually it might be completely wrong but by somebody else's view.
Yeah, no, completely. Because, people might decide that actually what they want to get into is polyamory, but they don't necessarily understand maybe what that means.
Yeah.
And maybe they just like the concept that they'll be starting new relationships or seeing other people within their marriage.
Yeah.
Yeah. But again, why do you have to stick a term on it and define yourself as polyamorous?
Well, I think there is a need to define what it is in terms of which part of it, just so that we can talk about it without tripping around a 5-minute journey about going, and then they do this, and then this is their approach. It would just nice to go, right, this is a sausage, that's a pasty, and that's a hot dog, or whatever it might be. Confusing, two sausage metaphors.
All
of those things. But you've got a cheese and ham toasty for lunch, so you'll be fine.
Winning.
Exactly. Once we've done this show, we'll be having a cheese and ham toasty. It's lovely. It just would help in terms of communicating with people. And one of the things I do for work is communicate with people. So you have to be really clear with how you label and how you say things, because the wrong thing, in my line of work, if you get it wrong, that could be dangerous. So equally for this, it's really important that we get the right terminology. But again, this is like Mr. H Dreamland, because, like people's behaviours, you can't change that culture overnight. I mean, and you can go around and tell people this is what you think is a sausage and this is what you think is a pasty. But people might go, no, it's not a sausage. That's a litre of Coca-Cola or whatever it might be. You know what I mean?
I do. So what's the bit that needs to sit in room 101 then? Is it the
lack of definite terms?
Definite terms, okay, rather than terms. Because the terms need to exist potentially, but it's
I think terms are really, really important, and labels are actually quite important. But the fact that there's no agreement on them, or there's no definitive solution.
Yeah, I know. It would be one hell of a really scrappy flow diagram, wouldn't it?
I don't mind if there's a flow diagram. That says, do you do this? Do you do X? Do you sleep with other people? Okay, then or is it just love? Do you? And then at the end, it spits out, Mr. H, you are a X. That'd be great.
We're like one of those take a break love quizzes.
Yes.
Are you a love rat?
Your character is most likely to be Gimli the dwarf.
Oh, you already did the quiz.
Yeah. And my axe. Anyway, yours. Go for it.
Obviously, I think this will be my last one, because I think then it's probably more useful to move on to other people's opinions, because I think we probably share a lot of those. But the last one I kind of picked, again, loosely as a concept, was around shame. And when shame, not Shane Lizard.
Okay.
Shane Wizard.
Shane Wizard.
Shame, maybe like shame and stigma as maybe dovetailing terms. So I think, again, even now, 4 years down the line, I still, for some reason, feel a slight sense of shame when people find out for the first time what I choose to do.
It's because they make you walk down the street with a bell ringing. Shame, glung, 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 shame.
I offer to walk down the street naked, that's no problem. It's just the bell. I don't like the bell. And I think shame could be unpicked as a whole episode on its own, frankly, because there's tons of stuff that you could unpack when we talk about shame. But I do wish I didn't feel that, because I don't feel I should, but I do. And that's partly because of those negative stereotypes and all those assumptions that people incorrectly jump to, that because you choose to do this, it must mean you're some kind of loose hoe, or, or that you're not happy in your marriage, or all the things that kind of lead to the decision why you decide to open up your marriage and do these things. So shame for me is, I wish it didn't exist, and I wish it didn't kind of sometimes pop into my thoughts as do I feel shame? Is that what I'm feeling now? That I feel guilty for doing things that I actually enjoy doing. So yeah. But again, maybe that could just be an entire episode on its own.
It is strange. I mean, I've had a couple of conversations over the last few months with colleagues that didn't know, because I'm working with a slightly different team at work at the moment, at home, and I've sort of had these sort of, hey, this is what we do kind of chat. It was kind of hard, especially when I was sort of like, yeah, the way you edit audio is by doing X, Y, and Z, and this is the kind of thing that how do you know so much about this? Did you not know? Did you, have you not watched Channel 4 lately, he says, with some level of ego attached to it.
And do you feel immediately obliged to whip out the first 4 comments saying, no, I don't do this, no, I don't do that, yes, I do this, which always follow because someone naturally goes, oh my goodness, you do that? I
think there is a level of how you present it. And I think I tend to go down the ethical non-monogamy route more than, I might introduce us as swingers, but it's almost like, but we take ethical non-monogamy really seriously, and we want to help the community, and we want to do all this sort of stuff. So I very quickly go into a little bit of a sort of defensive mode, but it's interesting because actually it's been universally received really, really well. But I know what you mean. There is a level of kind of holding your breath to see how someone is going to react, and whether they're going to be like, you do what now? And most of them, in fact, all of them have been universally supportive and interested in terms of the sort of technical aspects of what we do, right? Not the sex part, but the podcast part. They're more interested in, they would be given the sort of stuff I do. So, but actually, there is that moment of just a few seconds where you're like, this is what I have to do. I got the fun. Okay, that's great. And that moment feels like an eternity sometimes, because there is a level of knowing that this isn't what the rest of society sort of approves of. But actually, I'm not shameful of it. I just don't want them to not like me because of it. But
again, that's all connected. And I think one of the reasons why shame crops up so much in my head is because, annoyingly, we as a kind of lifestyle choice, we are given things which don't help the image, like clubs that look grotty.
Yeah.
You go to sex clubs and have sex on dirty mattresses. Well, all right, actually, it's a shame that some clubs are portrayed that way.
Yeah.
But it's kind of because it is shunted into this backstreet sordid kind of, you have to go and find these salubrious places to enjoy your kicks.
Yeah, but the same people shop at Aldi.
But they're all interlinked,
and I want to point out, there's nothing wrong with shopping at Aldi. It's just not the nicest looking experience for a supermarket, right? You're still getting the same fucking food. It just looks shit.
Is it the dogging of the supermarket world?
Well, and this is the thing, do people judge others on shopping there when it doesn't look as nice as, I don't know, a Sainsbury's? Or,
and that's the thing.
If
all swinging sex clubs, whatever you want to call them, adult entertainment clubs, looked high end and weren't hidden away, and you didn't have to knock 8 times in a Diagon Alley kind of scenario to gain access, and you didn't have to hide yourselves away from society because you're some kind of, desperate sex fetish, addicts, then it wouldn't be so shameful to admit that you do this. And this is the problem. I feel that's why I do have to hide things away. You wouldn't hide the fact that you enjoy golf, would you?
I would. Fucking hate golf.
If you like golf and you like going out playing golf, then why do you have to hide it? It's not shameful. It's
because of the ridiculous trousers and hats.
Whereas this is a hobby, okay? It's something I enjoy. It's an added extra in my life, whatever you want to call it. And it's annoying that I I can't talk about it.
Is it though? Because you think about hobbies, right?
Mm.
And
all right, it's a way of life then.
But I come from a very, very nerdy background. I'm sure we can all agree on that. Don't all stop now. Thank you.
Guitar, train wanker.
Yeah, well, exactly. But if you think about lots of the hobbies that are out there, like model painting and playing video games and even sort of playing guitar to a certain extent, they're not as mainstream.
No.
And there is a level of judgment on even those things. It's almost sometimes, and depends on the people, that unless you're sort of, your hobbies are going shopping or watching football, then it's kind of frowned upon. In a way,
or it's not received as well, maybe.
Yeah, and I think there is this sort of societal thing. I mean, society's coming up a lot in this.
It is. Episode, this is. I think because we've seen so much of people's societal judgment over the last year, because we've been locked away with nothing else to do but think about things.
But this goes back to the actually how much do we sort of care about society's judgment if the way they're acting is so bad and the way they are is so awful. Does it really mean that much anymore?
I think it can, because obviously you are part of society, aren't you? And if you want to, kind of interact with people and not...
I'm going to go make Swinger Island and be part of my own society where it's amazing.
It'll all be lovely and high-end and nerdy beds everywhere.
It'll be the most high-maintenance, difficult place to live in the world.
I mean, I think, long story short, just wrapping it all back up to what I'm getting at, I think it's just still a shame that all this stuff exists to make you feel less than great as a person.
Yeah, I think there is something very powerful in being able to live as your own person and live in the way that you choose. And I think that's why those trips to Desire that we've had, particularly with the swing set, where you can be yourself, were so empowering and delightful and quite dizzying to a certain extent, and why the low of leaving those places is so high. Low is high, you know what I mean. Why you feel so low when you leave is because you can't be that person. Obviously you're on holiday and it's completely different to your day-to-day life, but actually the fact is that you can be a swinger, you can be naked, you can be whatever you want.
Be whatever you want,
yeah.
And no one's going to judge you.
Exactly.
Or if they do, they won't say it. I don't know. I suppose, unconscious bias exists in all of us, because it does. Of course it does. It's what makes us up. But
you are 98% conscious bias.
But the point is, I don't like being made to feel that
You don't like being made to feel? No, we'll sort that out later.
Hear what you want to hear.
I say what I want to say. So, what were we throwing in the bin?
I don't know. Shame. Maybe, or maybe being made to feel shameful.
Okay. Societal judgment.
Yeah, all of it.
Yeah.
Get in the bin.
Get in the bin, you bastards.
Stop judging people.
I had one little more sort of vague Mr. H thought that I wrote down before we go into everyone else's thoughts and criticise those, which was around COVID, actually. Around the behaviour.
COVID can get in the bin, yeah.
It definitely can. But some of the behaviours that we've seen through COVID. And again, this goes back to people being people.
Yeah.
And it's been, I found the last year really difficult because we've tried to stay relatively safe, tried to stay relatively out of it. Not all of our friends have done that.
No.
And some people have, like going back to Naughty New Orleans, right? They hosted a great big fucking event. Loads of people caught COVID. Like, what the actual fuck, right? So I think it's not so much COVID itself, although it can get in the bin. I think it's the behaviours that it's highlighted. It's been like a magnifying glass for how people act. And some of them, some of them are your friends, and you kind of go, well, actually, these are people that are normally pretty good humans. They just want to get out and want to enjoy themselves. We get that. But it's hard to justify it sometimes when you see some of that behaviour out there and some of the reactions to it. And, those that have been playing that haven't stopped throughout the course of the pandemic, it's really affected how I feel about a lot of people, a lot of events and a lot of things that are out there in our community.
I agree. It's kind of pivoted everything massively and made us scrutinise the behaviours of some people. It's quite astonishing.
Yeah.
And it's brought out, as we said before, it's brought out the best and the worst in many, many aspects of things, hasn't it?
It has. And it's kind of left me thinking, well, to what end does this last? And to what end do I stay angry about it? So, for example, with Naughty New Orleans, right? I don't want to go there, right? I think what happened there, and you can go on Twitter and find out what happened with them, but ultimately they ran the show last year and a bunch of people got COVID, right? People got ill, very ill, and it became a mass spreader event effectively, or an effective mass spreader event. You know, I was looking forward to going to Naughty New Orleans at some point in our future travels. It was something that really excited me, but actually probably terrified me as well. But the reality now is that I don't feel like I can justify going because of the actions of what happened last year. It feels to me like this is wrong, but there's only so long I can stay angry. And I think already we're seeing people that are starting to flock back and book tickets for this year, which for me, I'm kind of like, no, I can't go to that. I feel like it's not the right thing to do. I need to stay away from this place. I'm sure like 2 years down the line, I'll be like, you know what, I can't stay angry forever.
So you're just cutting off your nose to spite your face eventually.
Well, yeah.
Because everyone's like, just get on with it.
Yeah. And I don't think everyone's going to be angry forever. I think, you know, after a year of things sort of sliding back into the normality thing, things will start to go back. But at the moment, I'm in this real sort of quandary of how I feel about different things, different events, different people because of the way that they've behaved over the course of the last year.
But I think the difficult thing is people are so polarised in their views of whether it's even exists as a thing. And that's not helped because are some people's behaviours formed around the fact that they actually aren't taking it seriously and they think it's a big scandemic and they don't actually physically believe that COVID is a danger?
Well, we've seen...
Or because they know it is and actually they just don't care enough because what they want is more important.
Yeah, and I think the difficulty is that it's highlighted the different approaches in that way. And, you know, we've tried to be as good as we can do. And, you know, we're vaccinated. I got vaccinated last week.
Yeah.
Hurrah! I was ill for like 24 hours. That sucked. You wanted a Viking funeral.
I did. I was so delirious with fever that I decided that the only way forward was for you to organise a Viking funeral for me.
Yeah, but...
And delete my browser history.
Yeah, just delete all the tentacle
Burn
porn.
it all in the same funeral.
Exactly that. So, you know, it's just really made me think about this whole piece, and it's really... It surprised me with how I've reacted, and some folks that we know and love, it's been easier to justify because of the strength of that relationship and those friendships. Others less so, and it's really made me question their approach. And you know, it's almost that my hat is that, you know, if they're like that with COVID and the safety of others, how are they going to be with our safety and
STD checking and
all that sort of stuff? So. It's kind of really stuck in my mind. So I'm sure over the course of the next 6 months, 12 months, whatever, that will all float away and it'll be all smoothed over and forgotten. But at the moment, I'm in this space where I'm actually a bit like, some of these things don't feel quite right and they're still on my mind. So,
well, you only got to think about the number of messages we received over the course of all of the lockdowns, various, you know, stay home orders, that kind of thing. The number of messages we continue to receive from people going, I'm free now for meet. Do you want to meet in a hotel or whatever it is? Or do you want to play? And we're like, there's a pandemic.
Well, yeah.
Like, no, well, you know, no, it's fine.
And my other thing was actually around single guys. Though there are good ones out there.
There definitely are.
But the vast majority are just, I don't know. We've said more than we can ever say on single guys throughout the course of this thing. You know what it's like. You get the hey. And the next thing you know, you get a picture of someone's penis. And, you know, my take now is to tell them that we believe that this is a form of sexual assault. And most times out of 10. Yeah.
I mean, dick pics does need a place in Room 101, unfortunately.
I think we've already put it in there in our last one that we did.
Yeah.
But, you know, let's shunt it back in.
It's a shame.
I think we need to move on.
From dick pics?
From dick pics to some of the ideas that other people had. And we'll see what comes out.
Yeah, I think there are probably some common themes in there.
There are. So, Townhouse. Good old Townhouse. They're lovely.
Oh, I think I saw their comment about, yes, what needs to go into room.
Brilliant. Thanks for that wonderful insight.
I got excited because I remember reading something.
They say I'd get rid of a certain swinging site.
Oh, well, there you go.
There we go. So, you know, I think that's fab that they're referring to. Probably.
It must be. But the others are not doing themselves any favours at the moment.
No, you know, it's. I don't think it really matters what site we have. It's the people and the behaviours. I think there are some issues with Fab in terms of the way it affects people that are trying to promote stuff. It's not very promoter friendly, but at the same point, you know. Anyway, right. Midlife Swinger jumped in and said, theme nights at clubs. I like to dress up. The odd fancy dress night can be fun, but constantly having to dress to a theme is tiresome. Just make an effort to look nice, and that is enough.
I remember discussing this last time in Room 101 because I got really ratty about the fact that you bloody love it. You love getting involved in all the different theme costumes and you're like, we've got to get this and that. I'm like, oh my God, it's such a ball ache.
Well, it reminds me of sort of back must have been 15 years ago when we were very early on in our relationship, right?
Mm.
And our friends, like every other week, there was another fucking fancy dress party.
Oh, I know.
It felt, and for the first 3 or 4, super fun, great. We had some great costumes, awesome fun. And then you're like, oh, another one. So I think there is a level where you kind of go, ugh. Desire's like the epitome of that, like where every night is a different thing. And sometimes you just want to chuck on a nice shirt and some jeans and just be all right. And
you don't have, I mean, the part of the fun is making the effort to get involved. And the problem is, though, people get fatigued by that. And it's not easy and it's expensive sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think it's only as good as the effort you put in. And some people just like watching the effort other people have put in.
But also, I think on these nights, often it's the women that put in all the effort and the men just like, I'm just going to wear a suit with some different colours on it. And, it's fine. So I'm with them a little bit on that. I think there's an overabundance of these things. That said, we don't go to clubs very often, so I certainly haven't over the last year.
Well, I was going to say, surely now when eventually things get back up and running, I'd be quite happy to get a costume again.
Yeah, I know, right?
It means I can go out
if it means being social, let's do it. They added, and I don't think you'll agree with this one, and hold-up stockings, they should be forever consigned to Room 101.
Oh, I'm on the fence of this one. They can be amazing, but they can be a pain in the ass as well.
Okay, fine. Right. N Hubby and Sexy Wife said swinging websites.
See, everyone is in agreement that swinging websites at the moment are just really shocking.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Redhead jumped in and said, would the profiles on Fab that are only there to garner likes and move up the hot list count? Same as the ones who delete their vids, pics, and re-upload them every day.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, you know what? I think part of this whole lifestyle is around exhibitionism.
Oh, 100%. I would agree.
And actually posting pics for the likes and attention, I think that could be a part of the lifestyle. So I'm not too worried about that. I kind of get that it's annoying because some people will only post the pictures on there and they don't want any interaction. So others will see them not as true swingers. I fucking hate that phrase. But
the ones that annoy me are when they say, if you don't retweet or like this or something, I'm going to delete my account. Like, all right, then.
Great.
Bye.
Bye.
It's like blackmailing you into...
if you don't forward this to 5 people, then you won't win a prize from a Nigerian prince.
Again, it's not authentic. It's not an authentic like of what you're doing, what content you're putting out there, is it? It's more, I'm forcing you to like my stuff. And that's, actually not very good. So,
true. Right. Purple Mamba Club jumped in and said, our answer may be a little different. Cleaning. So much cleaning. If anyone knows of little sex robots, I don't know why they're sex robots, that are instant club cleaners, that would be awesome.
Because they know you like Transformers.
Well, this is true.
Maybe they think there's like a cleaning Transformer out there.
See,
Optimus Grime.
Oh
my God. I've done it.
Surely it would be Optimus Shine if he cleaned.
Shut up, mine's better.
Sure,
Optimus
Grime. Don't give me evils and nothing and nobody, right?
Optimus Grime.
They said they're prettiness and they're going to come and chin us, right? Anyways, so I think this is very important. I like the fact that they are cleaning so much because I like the fact that the club is clean.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
It must be a pain.
It must be awful, but that's the digs that you got to take if you're in a sex club.
Unfortunately, yeah. You can't not do it.
Sorry, folks, but that is a good sign of a good club, right?
Yeah, get one of those little bots that go around. Rumbas that dogs like to sit on and
like
cats
DJ
like
Rumba.
to sit on. And then you see them on YouTube with cats sitting on rumbas.
Okay, fine. But they're not going to pick up condoms and spray down the spaff from the walls, are they?
No, I would imagine that would just like clog it up instantly. They need luminol. No, we don't need luminol.
No, luminol. Right, Clipbang jumped in. Ms. Clipbang, CLT Bang. Also, couples who don't play with bi men but are actively seeking bi women. Is it okay for women to swing both ways but not men? Are they worried that the men won't be able to contain themselves because that just suggests they may have a tenuous grasp on consent to me? Agreed.
Well, the whole bi thing is huge, isn't it? And we've just explored this so many times because
I haven't explored being bi.
It is extremely imbalanced as a concept in the lifestyle. And, you get people who won't play with couples where the man is bi. And you're like, why?
I tell you what I hate before I forget. Fucking
Big
people
you don't like?
who take my profile pictures and post them as their own on Fab.
Oh, my goodness.
Cunts.
I was
Absolute
livid.
cunt.
I was so angry, wasn't I?
I know, right? But they put me as bi, and they called us Jane and Steve. Steve. Did Steve tell you that by chance?
Oh my
Steve.
goodness, they made you Steve.
They made me Steve.
Were you like a curvy bi guy or something who was 6 foot?
Yeah, I'm like...
And into water sports and rimming. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't
That's
think
apparently
you are.
Yeah, this was all news to me. So that infuriated
what
the
annoyed me
shit
more
out
than
of me.
anything was it's our phase pictures they used.
Our phase,
Fuck off.
not face, phase. Anyways, Ms. Clipbang also adds, single men making no effort in contact, dick pics, having to keep up with so many chats, dick pics, people asking if I'll play without, dick
Dick
pics.
pics.
Play without Essex Sprite, sorry, that's our other half. He's a lovely man.
He is.
He's a good chap. Yep, dick pics, yep, throw them in the bin. And so many chats. Yeah, there are a lot of chats. That's a good thing, though. Well, okay.
I get so tired of it all.
I think so. Chats can go a couple of ways.
You bloody love a chat.
I do love a chat, but I like a good chat. I get fed up with the inane chats where it's just like, so what do you do? What are you wearing? How's it going? It gets very boring. But once you become friends with people, those chats are a lot more fun and interesting.
100% agree.
Yeah.
But having multiple chats is extremely tiring.
Yeah.
Especially for you, because I don't involve myself.
Exactly. Also, shout out to the meme queen, Vanilla Ice. Thanks for the memes.
Thanks for the memes.
Thanks for the memes. So long, and thanks for all the memes. Melimia. Some of these are difficult to read because I've got my iPad away from me. But couples where the man wants to secretly chat to you. Be gone and stop making a mockery of swinging.
Oh.
Yeah, we've only had that once or twice.
Feels a little bit naughty, doesn't it?
That is a bit naughty.
Unless it's something like organising a secret birthday surprise, which is acceptable.
That's fine. Like confirming
because I
details
have secretly spoken to people without you, but only to get a surprise.
Okay. Have we got a surprise coming?
No, we've had it. It was your birthday last year.
Oh, I thought it was another surprise. Anyway, Hayley and Stu, who we met.
Yeah, we did.
We met them in Australia. They were lovely. They said, hi both. We don't like the term lifestyle. This is our day-to-day life. Contrary, we know. And trying to get people to verify themselves is like pulling teeth. Also being approached from overseas in real life hookups. That was unlikely before COVID. Now it's literally impossible.
See, I know quite a lot of people don't like that term lifestyle. And again, it comes back to this whole terminology battle that we keep going on.
Yeah, I just want it to be...
You're never going to please everyone.
No.
And you can call yourself what you want, really, but...
We need like a new made-up term that we can apply to all these different things. We need like 30 different new words that we can make up and just say, this is what this means, this is what that means, and then we can just be on our way. And if you don't like it at that point, then just fuck off. And getting people to verify themselves, that can be a pain.
Yep.
And hubby and sexy wife came back and they said, status updates from attention seekers that say they've accidentally deleted all messages. Please get in touch. It's way too tricky to delete all messages by accident. And there's a lipstick next to it, which I think means that it was sexy wife.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't come across that much, but yeah, that must be a pain. Okay, our secret life. Hello, all right, how you doing? They said the assumption was that just because we're in a club / on a site, we're going to play with you.
Yeah, just because you are swingers doesn't mean you have to swing.
Yeah, well, his cocktail chimed in. Or the assumption that just because you engage in ethical non-monogamy, that you are down to fuck all the time with anyone.
That's what I said at the beginning. It's like people who make these radical assumptions that your life must just be one big orgy, sex fest.
Yeah.
Like,
Sex
really?
Fest. Great club. Anyway, Curvilicious chimed in. The assumption that I'm easy just because I play as a single in the life. I'm actually very happily married and play with his permission. And of course he has final say. I'm really fussy on who I play with. Almost any hole's a goal mentality.
Yeah. And again, I think we talked about earlier, didn't we, that just because you do like to do things that, have a swinging umbrella over the top.
Yep.
It doesn't mean that you do, or that you're easy, or that you're some kind of like hoe that just likes banging all day.
Yeah. Well, you might be those things, but it doesn't necessarily mean
why
it.
does it mean you are?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Nerdy introvert, hello. Chimed in. She said, the serving of hot dogs at swinging / adult clubs.
What? I've never had a hot dog at a swinging / adult club.
Well, we've had pasties and...
I've never had a hot dog.
Okay, fine.
I want to know where these clubs are that they're going, where they freely give out hot dogs.
Fair enough. Little Miss Slutty Pants came in. Hello, how you doing? She said, impatience.
What? Impatience?
I was doing a joke while I was waiting for the rest of it to be read. And everyone was like going, come on, read it. I hate it when I've not even been given 24 hours to respond before folks start getting shitty. I'm busy, even in lockdown. Agreed.
Yeah. They must really hate me then. I never respond to messages.
Well, this is true. You never do. So it is a bit strange, actually, because like people are like, hey. Hi.
Oh, we have had
Hey.
like multiple hays from
Hey.
someone. Hey.
Hey. Gentleman Perv said, sending a carefully crafted first contact, making sure to reference things in their profile and doing your best to engage, only for it to be deleted 10 minutes later with no reply. Annoying, but okay, we all have different preferences. Yeah, it's
That's
really
quite
annoying,
rude.
though, is the same person then putting up multiple statuses, updates the same day. Why are there no genuine single guys? Nothing but time wasters on here, etc., etc.
It must be incredibly difficult being a decent single guy.
Yeah,
They all get tarred with the same brush. I realise that.
they do. I guess the thing is, though, is if people look at the pictures, they just go, right, we've got 300 single guys to get through. Let's just delete the ones that we don't want to interact with.
Counter.
Yeah, it is a bit.
Crikey.
So, yeah, that must be shit. It must be really difficult to kind of to manage that. I know that Martin spoke a lot about it when we did the interview with him. So, yeah, go back and see what he said. He gave some top tips. I don't know what episode it was.
It was
like,
mainly
I don't know.
about ironing shirts. but
Yeah,
you're right.
mostly. Our secret life added, is there a maximum, meaning number of these? Curious Kitty, hello. We spoke to her a short while ago. Assumption that all single women on the swinging scene will happily sleep with anyone. We're swingers, that doesn't equate it to easy or having no standards.
Yeah, I agree. It's so difficult. Well, I think someone else said the same, didn't they? But any hole's a goal kind of thing.
Yeah, I know. I've been sending her messages all the time and she still hasn't slept with me.
How many
Terrible.
dick pics do you send her?
12 today.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hey.
Here's
Hi.
my dick.
Hi. Cambridge couple, or couple, said, trash the term swinger. We much prefer the term lifestyle. Lifestyle to us encompasses much more than the act of being with another couple. To some degree, it's the mentality of sexual inhibitions. Plus, we can go to a lifestyle club with the intentions not to play. Nobody's on the same fucking page on this
They're
one.
really not.
Like, I don't mind swinger if that's what we're calling it.
Yeah, but no one can agree.
No one can agree on anything. This is the thing. Okay, Daywood says, peacocks strutting around in clubs they are something special, though I'm not sure if I would be 100% get rid of them, as they are a good laugh. I mean,
I've actually got this vision of this really smartly dressed peacock now, in like a shirt and tie.
hey, look at me. I'm a peacock. Hey,
Just my dick.
hey. Why is the peacock a man?
Because they're peahens if they're lady peacocks, aren't they?
I suppose, but you...
Peacocks, they're males.
All right. Hey, I'm a peacock. I don't know. I thought... I had a couple of thoughts on this. Aren't we all a bit special? You know, aren't we all a bit like we want people to look at us, and don't we all sort of strut around a little bit to a certain extent?
Well, you tell me you take 80 selfies a day.
Well, I do. And I still don't like my face.
But why? Okay, so why do you take so many selfies if it's not for people to look at you?
It's for me to look at me and to appreciate my face. I don't like the way I
But
look.
if it was just for you to look at, you wouldn't send to other people.
Yeah, because
So again, everyone has an element of, hey, look at me.
Yeah, well,
Right?
that's what I was saying. That I think so. I think there is a, especially when you go to a club, to a certain extent, if you're there and you do want to hook up with other people, you are going to make an effort and you are going to strut around a little, probably.
Are you one of those peacocks then?
I've been known to peacock around a bit in a shiny suit and whatnot. I mean, I don't think, because you walk around the club in underwear, right? You do that for a reason.
Yeah,
What's that reason?
because I look nice.
No.
It's not because I look nice.
look-
Are you
well,
telling me I don't look nice?
You look wonderful, but that's not why you're wearing that. You're not doing it because you look nice. You're doing it for other people to recognise that
It's
you
a
look
merry
nice.
dance, isn't it? It's because, of course it is. It's chemistry, it's flirting. It's because we're going there with the intention of making some connection on some level, whether it be social, friendly, sexual, whatever it is. And you're not going to go there in like a bin troll outfit, are you? You're going to make yourself look nice.
That's
and
true.
if you make yourself look nice, then you want people to notice you.
See, what I really want is like a staircase that I can descend, like with music
like in
playing.
Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Yeah, that would be good.
When he comes descending down the
Yeah,
stairs
like
with
stops
his
to hold
cocktail
with
in
the
hand.
cocktail, and yeah, that's
I think
how
we did that on holiday once, didn't we?
we did.
We descended this staircase. We must have looked like a right pair of
Twats.
twats.
But people watched us. They looked at us a lot. I don't know. I'm in two minds over this one. I think it is nice to show off a little bit if you're feeling confident and you've got that spark inside that sort of says, "Yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm looking good. I want people to look at me." What's wrong with that?
Well, it's a fine line between arrogance and confidence, isn't it?
Yes, and I bridge it perfectly with stupidity.
Always having some humour and self-depreciation, it goes a long way.
Some humour.
A bit of humility.
Well, it's one of those things, isn't it, I think? So I'm just going to see if we've got any other comments.
Is this your commentary music?
This is my commentary music.
Brilliant.
Tell people stuff, when I'm looking. That'd be great.
Hey. No, so I think we've got quite a lot of things there that can sit in Room 101. Not all of it should go in there, though, because the fact that they exist probably is a good thing.
Yeah, well, some of these things are good, important things that are an important part of the mix. Some of these things are just annoyances. And those annoyances come from both our personalities and our approach to the lifestyle. He says in a Jerry Springer final thought kind of mode.
What have we learned today, folks?
What have we learned today? Well, in today's episode, Orko learned to share and share alike. Snarf, snarf. I know that's not Orko, but, it's nice to get a snarf in there somewhere. I really think that some of these things are just passing annoyances. Some of them are just intrinsically linked with people being people. And you're always going to get people being idiots because they're people. So, it's just about how tolerant you are to those. And also, I think there's a level of education around things like, helping people understand why they're doing what they're doing and why that might not be so good for everyone else.
Yeah, I would agree. You're never going to please everyone, like we said. And, we've said before, don't yuck someone's yum. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean other people don't.
No. But it still gives me the right to rage about it.
And we do rage about a lot of things.
Exactly. So that was us moaning. Be interested if you've got thoughts yourselves. Get in touch with us at bedhopperssuck@gmail.com or bedhopperssuck on Twitter.
I actually think what we need off the back of all this is we need a brand new site that's great, but doesn't have definitive terms. Maybe doesn't even have a title because it doesn't want to give itself a label. And an amazing club.
An amazing club. Well, we could call it Bedhoppers.
Yeah, in fact, we could.
We'd have themed rooms.
Yeah, I actually do think there needs to be a good site, though.
What, like an actual site?
An actual proper site that isn't shit.
So, and this is the trick.
Because this collectively seems to be like the common theme running through all of this. People are crying out for something that's better.
Well, Double Date Nation is a great site.
But going over here, it's not really...
But there's no one on there.
There's no one on there.
Over here. Now, that can change if people go on and sign on. Same with Excite. If they built it and destroyed the thing and rebuilt it again, it might be all right. Same with Fab. I think all Fab needs really is a level of overhaul in terms of the way it looks. Because I think the functionality's there. I think it probably needs some better filters around who is paying and who is not. And probably better means of reporting things. It also needs some level of promotion opportunity in there so you can actually promote the stuff that you're doing. But it's not a million miles away from functionality. It's just that I think the volume of people that are on there bring out the dicks, quite literally sometimes.
Bring out the dicks.
Bring out the dicks. Unleash the night arrows. Anyway, on that note, Mrs. H, do you want to do your thing?
I do. Okay. Well, thank you for hopping into our bed.
Be editing that one out.
You will.
Oh, thanks.
That's what she said.